Your choice of potatoes, 5-pound bag, only $4.49. Fresh certified Angus beef, high-round roast, only $5.99 per pound. Grace corned beef, 12-ounce tin, only $3.49. Ringo pasta sauce, 24-ounce jar, hot price, only $2.79. Old-time honey wheat sliced bread, 20-ounce loaf, hot price of only $3.99. All stores open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., Sunday 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
Live from Bermuda Broadcasting, this is ZBM TV9 News.
Good evening, everyone. It's Tuesday, January 30th, 2018. I'm Diane Brewer, and thank you for joining us tonight. Chris Ferbert, the president of the Bermuda Industrial Union, tonight dismissing criticism that the blame for the ongoing bus cancellations rests on operators who rejected a revised schedule due to an overtime pay dispute. In an opinion piece by former OBA Minister Michael Fay, he says a new schedule would ease the burden on the transport system, reducing the fleet from around 90 to 60. However, Mr. Ferbert hits back that the previous administrations have purchased fewer buses year on year.
From 2001 to 2009, the country purchased 91 buses in that 9-year period. 91 buses. However, in the last 8 years, from 2010 to 2017, we've purchased 14 buses. So how do you go from purchasing almost 9 buses a year in that 9-year period to purchasing, look at this, it's probably 2 buses a year over the past 8 years. Less than 2 buses a year, because it's 8 years, it's only 14 buses. So it's less than 2 buses a year. This is the reason why we have a gap, and this is no fault of the OBA government. I don't want people to think I'm here bashing the OBA government. This is the PLP's fault and the OBA's fault, respectfully. Because the freeze on buying buses started in 2010. The PLP was still the government. 2011, they were still the government. 2012, they were still the government. However, in 2013, the OBA took the reins. 2013, we had no buses bought. 2014, we bought 14 buses, and for the last 3 years, 15, 16, and 17, we bought no buses. From 2001.
And Mr. Ferbert says the issue is indicative of a larger problem and not on the union.
The BIU is on record that we recommended to the ministry many years ago when we were trying to get a 35-hour work week for the government workers, that we look at, a 7-7-7, which means that each operator will come on, sign on, do 7 hours, and be finished. So they'd only work 35 hours a week. Now, how could we make that recommendation to management out of one breath and then say, well, this is about overtime? Maybe a few of the members might think that this is about overtime. For us, it was about trying to get them a 35-hour work week, understanding that your overtime will probably be reduced. We've even talked about spread time. Right now, the operator signs on, and he signs on, let's say he works for 11 hours, scheduled 11 hours. That 11th hour from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock is paid at spread time because over his 10-hour spread. Anything over 10 hours, every 5 minutes after that, is paid spread time. So there are a few rosters, a number of rosters have built-in spread time. We would welcome the idea of looking at, 7-7-7, reduce the cost reduce the spread time, and also reduce the overtime cost. So for him to say that the reason why we're not agreeing to this new roster is about overtime is wrong.
The Ministry of Public Transportation tonight apologizing to the public for the delays currently being experienced with the weekly garbage collection. It's expected that the delays will continue throughout this week. The public's advised that David Birch, the Minister for Public Works, will provide a full update to the public tomorrow morning at a press briefing regarding the current situation and steps being taken to address it. At this stage, the Ministry is encouraging residents continue to secure their waste bags in lidded bins. As an added reminder, the public can take their waste and recyclables to the Tynes Bay Public Drop-Off, which is open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday, and from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. In other news, if you operate or reside within the city of Hamilton, be prepared to pay a tax to handle your sewage. City officials plan to bring the tax into force thanks to an amendment of the 1917 Sewage Act. Our Mike Sharp brings us the latest.
It will cost the Corporation of Hamilton approximately $10 million to replace the outfall. That's the word from Chief Operating Officer Edward Benavides.
The sewage system that we have in the city of Hamilton is extremely old. It's been around for over 100 years. We need to do some capital work on it, just as we did some capital work about 20 odd years ago and put in a new pump station on Front Street. We have other capital projects that we have to do, as well as upgrade some of the existing infrastructure, the outfall, et cetera. This is going to require quite a large financing. We've been challenged by our asset management plan to be projecting out 3 to 5 years and probably looking at capital projects up to $20 million over the next 5 years or so.
The COH have budgeted $750,000 this year for the commission of a specialized engineering report for further treatment of the sewage.
Currently, we only screen. We have a 3 millimeter screening, so the large pieces of the effluent are removed and taken to the incinerator and burnt. The remainder goes through pumping system to the outfall. We're looking at newer technology and how we might be able to implement some stages of treatment and improve the situation both environmentally and from a process perspective.
And what about the tax on the annual rental value?
The ordinance that was published is 20 cents per $100 of ARV. Those are for items that there are a number of properties in the city and a number of properties outside the city. About 40, just under half of the sewage comes from outside the city. Anything that is pumped into the septic system at the Tynes Bay actually ends up in our sewage system. Everything within the city is in, and those that are connected to the system. If the amendment to the Hamilton Sewage Act 1917 that was passed in 2016 further clarifies who is liable for it, and that is any structure that is connected to our sewage system. So there are a number, everything from Hamilton Princess through Barclays, Cedarbridge, police, all of that in those areas, they're all connected. All the way down to Bowie and a number of the other properties all are connected.
Bowie,
as well as
B-U-E-I?
Sorry, yes, yeah. And the hospital. I've just skirted over. There are quite a number.
But that, for some of them, that could be a pretty good chunk of change.
Some of the contracts outside the city are done on a volume basis, and therefore the tax doesn't actually apply without an ARV. Hospital doesn't have an ARV, so we will be having conversations with people on how they might contribute. Under the ordinance, I can't charge them the 20 cents per $100.
And I'm Mike Sharp with Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Hey Smokey, let's get lunch from the Marketplace Food Court.
You know what? That sounds good.
They have oxtails, pumpkin, curried lamb, lemon chicken, sweet and sour ribs, vegetable stir fry, and the variety goes on.
Their chefs are good. They'll set you right up with really good carvings.
And don't forget the special dishes from the islands.
It don't matter. Well, no matter what you feel like eating, Marketplace will have it.
You know, it's quick, it's quality, and at prices you can count on.
Visit us 7 days a week. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Made for you daily at the Hamilton Marketplace Food Court.
Are you required to take one or more medications daily but have a hard time remembering when to take them? Does your family fear you may end up in the hospital because you often forget to take your meds? Or are you a caregiver looking for a time management tool designed to make your medication routine effortless? The Phoenix stores can help. With an MDS blister pack, a multi-dose packaging system that makes it easier to manage and take your medication. Each MDS blister pack contains medications for the week and is pre-packed, sealed, and labeled by a pharmacist. Prescriptions grouped by the day and the time of day you should take them, whether at breakfast, lunch, dinner, or bedtime. Plus, to ensure you're covered, each pack includes detailed, personalized instruction. Take confidence in knowing you're using your medications as the doctor planned. Visit the Phoenix stores to chat with the pharmacist and get your MDS blister pack today. The Phoenix stores, for a better life.
Well, welcome back. Well, are you addicted to your smartphone? Nearly half of all patients at one local chiropractic office is receiving treatment for neck and spinal injuries caused by spending too much time with electronic devices. Dr. Mark Hopper at Revive Health Center says the problem has become an epidemic in the last 2 decades.
Technology. It's everywhere, even in our pockets. And this spells bad news, according to a local chiropractor.
Tech neck is a term used for a condition caused by excessive and improper use of electronic equipment.
The human head weighs between 8 and 10 pounds, about the same as a bowling ball. To understand the pressure on the spine, every 15 degrees off alignment is a whopping 10 pounds.
Now, bring it out a little bit further. Okay? That's 45 degrees of neck flexion.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So now this right here, that's 6 degrees of neck flexion. How much heavier does that feel? Right?
10 times.
Now, that's your head.
You may be wondering what sort of damage tech neck causes.
Degeneration in the spine itself, which can lead to like bone spurs, disc degeneration, disc protrusion, herniations, pinched nerves. It can cause carpal tunnel syndrome.
So how many patients at his practice are affected?
Around 50 to 60% now. Yeah.
That's quite high.
That's quite high considering I've been in practice 20 years, and I probably was around maybe 10 to 15% back then, office workers. But the prevalence, I think, of smartphones, iPads, laptops, it's just gradually increased over the years.
Michaela came to Dr. Hopper 2 years ago with severe pain in her upper back caused by working long hours as a drafting technician. She says bad habits don't die easily.
It requires a lot of on-computer work and constantly being focused. So looking down and not quite keeping my posture straight, does tend to get a bit tight. So making these appointments does help relieve that sort of tension. And he does remind me to get up every 20 minutes, which ends up being every 2 hours.
Another concern with tech neck is that it affects children as well.
Most recently, the last patient I had was 14. Same thing, he tends to do his homework sitting on his bed with the laptop. So he basically slouching over the laptop with his head going forward, rounding his lower back, which I recommended that he go sit at a desk or at least the kitchen table.
Internationally, chiropractors are continuing to educate their patients on proper tech use.
We're talking to patients constantly, educating them on the proper way to sit, the proper way to use the devices, the proper way to move. I'm constantly telling my patients, are you getting up from your desk? How are you using your phone? How are you sleeping?
If all else fails, old-fashioned advice is the best remedy.
Your grandparents or your parents or that one teacher would always say, sit up straight. Just always have that in the back of your head every time you're using it.
The spine is crucial and often taken for granted. It protects the spinal cord and nerve endings. Any trauma to it can cause inflammation to appear anywhere in the body. Jasmine Patterson reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Makes you think twice. Well, back to information from the census. New government figures examining the island's industries reveal the number of non-Bermudians employed in the workforce remained virtually unchanged between 2014 and 2016. Tarai Trott has a look at the numbers.
The report is titled Facts and Figures 2017 and was released by the Department of Statistics. It shows a summary of the main indicators of social and economic trends on the island, which much of the data drawn from published reports of government departments and public authorities. The percentage of males in the workforce at 51% remained unchanged between 2014 and 2016, while the number of females at 49% also was unchanged. The percentage of Bermudians employed in the workforce stayed at 71% of jobs between 2014 and 2015, dipping slightly to 70% last year. When it came to tourism, air arrivals were up by 8% in 2016 compared to 2014 when more than 220,000 visitors landed here. The United States remained our top visitor market, which jumped by 12% last year compared to 2 years ago. There were slightly more motorcycles on the island's roads in 2016 of 20,019 cycles, a bump of 3% over the number recorded in 2014. Where it concerned economic activity, to no surprise, the United States remained Bermuda's largest and most important import market, which claimed 70% in 2016. In contrast, imports from the UK came in at just 3% in both 2014 and 2016. Canada represented 11% of imports last year. The report shows jobs in the hotel sector dropped by 183 or 8% last year compared to the figure recorded in 2014. The same was the case for the number of jobs in the restaurants, cafes, and bar sector, which saw a decline of 9% last year when compared to 2 years ago. Tarai Trott reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Turning to weather news, partly sunny with a few more showers for our Wednesday. Here's the latest from AccuWeather headquarters.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
The BF&M Insurance Group is pleased to bring you tonight's AccuWeather forecast. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brittany Boyer, and well, temperatures today, we made it into the low 70s, but get ready because temperatures are going downhill from here. We have a cold front that's moving through the area. The showers have already started, and this is going to be making progress to our east. In addition to the showers, there could be some steady downpours at times tonight. Of course, we need the rain. We could be looking at as much as a half of an inch of rain as we continue throughout this evening here. So visibility is going to be reduced if you're traveling throughout the island, and the winds are going to be very gusty as well. We could actually see some wind gusts topping 45 knots. If you have anything that could easily blow away in your property, try and bring that inside, but of course the rain has already started. Temperatures right now across the island, we are in the 60s. Humidity is currently sitting at 83%. Again, it is going to be quite windy with winds out of the southwest. We're talking between 18 to 22 knots, but some gusts will be higher than that. The water temperature hasn't changed over the last couple of days. It continues to sit in the upper 60s. Waves inside the reef between 2 and 3 feet, and then waves outside of the reef are running pretty high right now, between 9 and 12 feet. Of course, you don't really want to be outdoors with all of this steady rain that we have impacting the region, and we're also dealing with some rough conditions out there on the water. So for tonight, temperatures will be falling into the upper 50s. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, it is going to be cooling off quite a bit with this cold front moving through. So tonight it is breezy with a couple of showers, and then late this evening, say after 8, 9 o'clock tonight, we'll start to see the shower activity tapering off. I can't rule out a shower early tomorrow, but the takeaway with the forecast for tomorrow is the temperatures. Again, we got into the low 70s today. Tomorrow, highs are only in the low 60s here, so much cooler, still breezy at times, and we are still looking at some issues out on the water for your Wednesday. Talking about out on the water, here's a look at what you can expect your tidal times. High tide 1 coming in at 7:30 this evening. High tide 2 just after 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And we do have some marine alerts to fill you in on. Small craft warning through Wednesday night. So make sure you're taking it easy if you're heading out on the waters. All right, your getaway forecast here. Toronto, a couple of snow showers for tomorrow. New York City, we're in the 30s and right around freezing in Boston. How about turning up the heat here? Jamaica, 90 degrees. We are dealing with a disturbance here as well. So some showers in Jamaica and also in Barbados with temperatures in the mid-80s. Your extended forecast here as we head into the next couple of days. We are cooler and breezy on Wednesday. Lots of clouds hanging around into Thursday. Our next front will be moving off the coast on Friday, so we'll call it mostly cloudy, a few showers around, cooling off once again by the time we head into Saturday, and some more showers in the forecast as we get ready to wrap up the weekend.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
The whole concept came from the collaboration with BF&M and the America's Cup. The Endeavour program is the legacy of the 35th America's Cup that was here in Bermuda in June. And we've continued the charity now operating in Bermuda. And going forward, we thought, what a great opportunity for children on the autism spectrum. And hence we actually developed the No Limits program. They really do benefit from this kind of outdoor experience, this environment. You know, just yesterday going off the east end of Bermuda, I mean, they wouldn't have done that. Not many children in Bermuda have done that. And just them learning to take control of a large bit of transportation that they're doing at that age, and they may never get that opportunity.
That's where you see the biggest progress is. Whether they were looking at their hand steering, now they're looking forwards and actually looking where they're going because they've realized, I know where my hand is. I can do this without looking at my hand.
We are so grateful for the Endeavor program and what it has done for the students on the autism spectrum.
At Big Savings Zone, we believe your children deserve a happy space to call their own, full of color and excitement, where their imagination can take flight from fun to functional. We have a delightful selection of kids' furniture built with the same quality that you've come to know and trust at our everyday low prices. Create a room that your little ones will love only at Big Savings Zone. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Located in the Commercial Park, Southside, St. David's. Call 297-4440 or click BigSavingZone.com. Big Savings Zone, making your house a home.
It's a scourge that's taken dozens of lives and ruined scores more. For almost a decade now, gangs have brought death and grief to Bermuda. The government says combating gang crime is one of its priorities, but what is it going to do to bring the violence to an end? In a special half-hour program on ZBM, we'll be talking to National Security Minister Wayne Keynes and Gang Violence Coordinator Pastor Leroy Bean about their plans to crack down on one of the biggest social problems facing the island. Don't miss it.
The Bermuda Police Service says it is aware of deceptive social media accounts bearing the names of actual government ministers, including the Premier. Shady individuals on Facebook and Instagram have cloned legitimate profiles of these figures, only to send messages to others under these stolen identities to demand money in exchange for government initiatives. The public are advised that this is a scam, and if you receive such messages, you should call the government on 295-5151 to verify them and to request to speak with a Department of Communications representative. Anyone with information on the creation or use of fraudulent social media accounts should call the main police number on 295-0011 or Crime Stoppers at 800-8477. Elsewhere, a 51-year-old Devonshire man was sent to the intensive care unit after he crashed into a roadside boulder on Friday night while riding his motorcycle. It happened at around 9:40 on Somerset Road in Sands near the junction with Morgan Hill. Witnesses should dial the main police number on 295-0011. An update on his medical condition is expected soon. Turning to sports, the transfer window closed and Naki Wells stays with Burnley. Lamont Marshall makes a statement after first track meet of the year, and Nathan Trott and his West Ham United teammates go down. Earl Basden has the details and much more in tonight's sports.
The deadline has come and gone. Naki Wells is still the property of Burnley. The English January football window for transfers has come to a close at the top of this newscast, and Naki Wells remains at Burnley. How much time he gets to play for the remainder of the season is yet to be unknown. However, we will keep in contact to let you know when he does appear for the Premier Division team.
Tonight's sports is brought to you by the all-new Boundary at Fairmount, Southampton, the West End's only sports bar. Catch all the action and enjoy smoked to perfection barbecue, beer, and other pub favorites. It's game on at Boundary.
Lamont Marshall, who over the weekend broke the Bermuda indoor men's 5,000-meter record, is delighted with the start to the season, but he fears the challenges facing the sport.
Once I qualified for Commonwealth Games back in June of last year, my daddy wrote up a training program and a racing schedule for me. Shortly after, mind you, we realized that I couldn't go to Commonwealth because we just couldn't afford it. The amount of money I had spent on races qualifying, what it would cost to prepare, and then going away, being off the island. It's in Australia, so you're talking, 2-3 weeks off the island, loss in wages, spending money, so we just realized we couldn't go. It was financially, but we still said we'll stick to that program, and it's paid off because to debut like I did in the 5K indoors was definitely a positive start. Like I said, unfortunately, it's just it's a rich man's sport now. When you start talking about 5-10 races a year and out of pocket, I got a lot of help from my sponsors as well as you get some back from prize money, but it's expensive.
Marshall has also indicated he could be on the start line for Bermuda's biggest race of the year, the annual Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby.
Hopefully we can just bury the hatchet with the meet directors. Last year was a big thing. I'm always up for open dialogue. We can have a sit down, talk about it. Obviously the elephant in the room is always prize money. I'm, like I said, open and willing to talk about it and just to run, just to enjoy the sport for what it is. Chris is back out. Tyler ran 2 weeks ago a marathon, so he can, I don't know what his schedule's like, but I mean, imagine him, myself, Tyler and Chris all on the line. You want to see the biggest race, the best athletes on the day. So yeah, hopefully it can be a good season.
Nathan Trott and his West Ham United under-23 teammates suffered a 3-0 defeat at Swansea City last evening despite a decent performance in South Wales. George Bryars, Jordan Garrick and Kenji Gore scored for the hosts. Jamal Hector Ingham and Joe Powell, who struck a second-half free kick against the woodwork, went closest for West Ham. It was Trott and his teammates' first defeat of 2018 after results of a win and a draw against Manchester United and Leicester City. 4 Bermuda track and field athletes competed at the indoor VITA Weekend 6 track meet at the complex of Plymouth State University. Zakiya Lewis finished second competing in the Women's Division 1 Vermont 55-meter dash, crossing the line in a time of 7:75. Lewis would then win the women's long jump with a top leap of 5.19 meters. Lewis led off the St. Johnsbury 4x200-meter relay team that clocked a winning time of 1:53.85. The men's 600-meter gold medal went to Malik Joel, who clocked a time of 1:31.16. Sejan Harvey won the men's 1,000-meter run, clocking 2:51.10. Jewel, Mateo Dill, and Harvey were members of the St. Johnsbury's 4x400-meter relay team that ran to victory in a time of 3:48.49. Harvey and Jewel were members of the 4x800-meter relay team that won with a time of 9:04.51. Dill finished second in the men's long jump with a top leap of 5.51 meters. Meanwhile, Keisha Miller was a member of the BYU track and field team that gave a strong showing with many personal bests at the Columbia Challenge at the Armory track. Junior Miller finished 12th in the women's 60-meter preliminaries, clocking a time of 7:58. Miller would place 18th in the women's 200-meter preliminaries with a personal best time of 24:69. Dawn Lejour competed at the Noram Cup Duels Mogul skiing event at the Val St. Come ski track in Quebec, Canada. Lejour would finish 20th. The Jacksonville State women's tennis team improved to 3-0 on the season with a win over Tyler Smith and her Jackson State University women's tennis teammates. Jacksonville State defeated Jackson State 4-2. Smith, playing in the number 1 singles position, defeated Genevieve Underlay 6-4, 4-6, 6-4. Jacksonville State's Underlay and Elena Tendero were leading Jackson State Smith and Lucia Solis 5-4 when the match ended. Letitia Lima Ferreira and her Mount Allison University women's volleyball teammates lost a tough game to currently undefeated Mount St. Vincent University. They would go down 25-17, 25-21, 25-22. In Freezing Brookmire Continental Bowling League action inside the Work Lanes last evening, it saw the Nifty Rollers defeat the Invaders 20.5 to 9.5, while the match between Cricky Licky Laundry and the Bermuda Pest Control ended 15-15. The Oddballs defeated the Spice Nicks 17-13, while the Pinjammers defeated the Underdogs 20.5 to 9.5. The Cubs will wrap up the evening defeating New Hope 20-10.
Tonight's sports has been brought to you by the all-new Boundary at Fairmount, Southampton, the West End's only sports bar. Catch all the action and enjoy smoked to perfection barbecue, beer, and other pub favorites. It's game on at Boundary.
I'm Earl Baisden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
You can count on us.
Fresh Florida strawberries only $5.99 for a 1-pound package. Fresh Purdue chicken thighs or drumsticks only $1.99 per pound. DiGiorno pizzas 12 inches, hot price $8 each. Bluebonnet margarine sticks 1-pound box only $1.69. Ajax 2X laundry detergent 50-ounce bottle only $5.69. All stores open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for your shopping convenience.
You can count on us.
Ever wondered what smart health insurance feels like?
Colonial's 24/7 worldwide health insurance does most of the thinking for you.
1,500 CGI health claims are settled daily.
60% of claims settled automatically.
You can access your health plan almost anywhere, anytime.
And have smart wellness with online data tracking.
And more provider choices for you and the people who matter most.
Premier Health is smart health insurance, and it feels good.
Colonial, where people come first.
That's our newscast for tonight. I'm Diane Brewer. Thank you for joining us. Good night.